Cowboy Caviar. Think of it as Pico de Gallo with added ingredients to it. Fresh corn, beans, spices, and a nice vinaigrette. It's basically just a side dish that you can put on the table, serve it with chips and nachos. I'm actually gonna be pan searing a skirt steak later on that's gonna go beautifully on top of that. We have lots of great fresh ingredients. 1 ear of corn, 6 mini peppers, 1 avocado, 2 heirloom tomatoes, 4 serrano peppers, 1 shallot, 1 lime, 1 bunch of fresh cilantro, 15-ounce can each of pinto beans and black beans. Lastly, we have 1/4 cup vinegar, 1 teaspoon chili powder, 1/2 teaspoon paprika, 1/8 teaspoon cayenne pepper. I'm also going to be adding salt and pepper to taste. There's a little bit of knife work that we need to do, so we need to motor through that and then make the base for the vinaigrette and then just kind of assemble everything together. So the beans that are going into this Cowboy Caviar, I have black beans and I have pinto beans. Normally people like to use black-eyed peas. I'm substituting the black-eyed peas with pinto beans. Shallot, we're gonna go for a fine dice on this. I always like to have a bowl to have kitchen scraps put in because I like to put them in the compost a little bit later on. It really just helps keep your work area nice and clean and organized, which is the most effective way to work in the kitchen, right? So I'm gonna put the shallots in the mixing bowl and give the shallots a nice pinch of salt. The salt pulls out that beautiful natural flavor that the shallots have out, right? The zest of 1 lime goes into the bowl and the juice. Next I have 1/2 cup of white distilled vinegar. Basically I'm gonna let the shallots marinate in the vinegar, and the salt and the lime juice is gonna pull out a lot of flavor from those shallots. This is really the first step of building amazing flavor for this Cowboy Caviar, right? And some freshly cracked black pepper, never hurt anybody, right? So now we have some beautiful heirloom tomatoes that we're gonna chop up, put them into the bowl. I'm not worried about removing the tomato seeds. If that's something that you want to do, then obviously do what you want to do with that. Before I do forget, I have an avocado that also gets put into the Cowboy Caviar. I like to put it in right before I like to serve it. That way I don't have any chances of the avocado getting super just soggy, and I really don't want it to start oxidizing. I mean, there's enough vinegar in there that it shouldn't oxidize, but still like to add the avocado last right before I'm going to be putting it out for people to start to eat, right? So all that natural liquid the tomato has is going to be released into this vinaigrette, adding even more flavor to the vinaigrette and even more body to it. You want to taste as you go too. If it tastes good at the very beginning, then obviously the end product's going to taste amazing. I have a video on how I make cornstalk, so I'm gonna link that in the video description. It's one of my first videos, so it's a little bit older, but the information is still great. So if you want to learn how to make your own cornstalk, then definitely give that video a watch. I love these mini sweet peppers. I find they have a really great flavor. You can also use bell pepper if you want to do that. For a little bit added heat, I'm using some fresh serrano peppers. You could do jalapenos or you could just do all bell pepper. Kind of just depends on how much spiciness you want on it, right? So from here, you add the beans. These are just canned beans that I strained. You could also do fresh beans, of course. And now we have some spices. There's 1/8 teaspoon cayenne pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon chili powder, another pinch of salt, and give it a mix. I love the colors on this. This is so incredible. Look at that. Take a look at that. And it smells bomb too. The flavors are really going to develop as it sits in that vinaigrette a little bit longer, but I'm going to add a little bit more salt, a little bit more pepper to it. Of course, if you want this a little bit more spicy, you can always add more serranos to it. You can add habaneros to this, you can add some ghost peppers to this. Anything that has a nice floral fruitiness flavor to it with a nice amount of heat to it.
As I mentioned a little bit earlier, I like to add the avocado to the rest of the ingredients just before I'm going to be serving it. The cool thing about this recipe is that all the ingredients are going to get even more flavorful as they sit and marinate.
All those colors on there really make this thing pop. So now that this is made, I'm gonna pan sear that skirt steak really quick. I'm just gonna do salt and pepper in a really hot cast iron pan. Going for a medium rare on that. After that's done, let it rest, slice it, and then top it with this beautiful Cowboy Caviar. Ton of color, ton of flavor, and that flavor profile on this is absolutely banging.
So I have my cast iron pan warmed up over medium high heat until it literally starts to smoke. Drop in the skirt steak and let it pan sear for about a minute and a half per side. This cooks really quickly over high heat. We're looking for that beautiful browning on there, that Maillard effect. Once you have both sides of the skirt steak seared, go ahead and set it on a plate, set it aside for 10 minutes to rest. It's important to cut skirt steak against the grain, so figure out which way the grains are going and go the other way. So the cool thing about the Cowboy Caviar is the flavors on this is going to get even better as all the ingredients sit together over the next day or two. I love banging this recipe out when it's summertime, especially when tomatoes and corn are at their peak flavor, right?